testimonies shared on this channel come directly from the lives of those who experienced them, raw, real, and unedited. We encourage you to listen with empathy and an open heart, remembering that every account represents a true chapter of someone's journey. Keep the Holy Bible and the teachings of Jesus Christ and his apostles as your guide. Be aware that these testimonies point to the signs of the end times and the soon return of Christ. If this message touches you, please subscribe to support the ministry. Like the video, share it with others, and leave a comment telling us where you're watching from. Watch until the very end. What you're about to hear may challenge everything you think you know.
The sound of boots thunder behind me, echoing through the palace halls like approaching doom. Stop her! Don't let the princess escape! I ran. Cold marble slammed against the soles of my bare feet as I tore through the corridors. My silk abaya twisted around my legs, threatening to trip me with every step. My chest burned. My breath came in sharp, panicked gasps. My hands were sticky with blood. Not mine. Maria's. They had beaten her because of me. Princess Amira, stop at once, a guard shouted. By order of your father. I turned a corner, my lungs screaming for air. Every hallway, every room, every passage in this palace was watched. Cameras, guards, servants who reported everything. There was no escape. There never had been. Suddenly, a hand clamped around my arm. I screamed. Quiet! A voice whispered urgently. It's me. I looked up into the lined, frightened face of Khaled, one of the oldest servants in the palace. Her eyes darted down the hallway. This way. Hurry! She dragged me into a narrow storage room and shoved me behind towering stacks of folded linens. The door creaked shut just as guards rushed past, their radios crackling with frantic voices. We waited. Only when the footsteps faded did Khaled turn to me, tears streaming down her cheeks. What have you done, child? She whispered. What have you done? I told the truth, I said, my voice trembling. I only told them what I saw. She shook her head slowly. The truth will get you killed. In this palace, in this kingdom, some truths are too dangerous to speak. She was right. I knew she was. But it was too late now. I couldn't erase what I had seen. I couldn't unhear what I had learned. And I could no longer deny him. Not anymore. 3 weeks ago, I was not this girl hiding among bloodstained sheets. 3 weeks ago, I was still pretending. My name is Princess Amira bint Khaled al-Rashid. I am the second daughter of Sultan Khaled, ruler of one of the wealthiest kingdoms in the Gulf. I am 19 years old. I had never known hunger, never known poverty, never known true suffering. The only thing I had ever lacked was freedom. The palace I lived in contained 147 rooms. I counted them as a child, racing through endless corridors while my nannies chased after me in frustration. There were rooms for sleeping, rooms for dining, rooms for prayer, and rooms that no one ever entered, yet servants cleaned them daily anyway. My bedroom alone was larger than most people's homes. A massive 4-poster bed draped in silk, a marble bathroom trimmed in gold, a closet filled with designer gowns I wore once or never, a private balcony overlooking the Persian Gulf. At night, I stood there watching the city lights shimmer below, wondering what it would be like to be anyone else. Anyone but me. I had everything a girl could want. Jewels, education, luxury, tutors fluent in Arabic, English, French, and Urdu. I memorized large portions of the Quran. I studied poetry, philosophy, politics, and art. But I could not choose who I would marry. I could not choose where I would live. I could not choose what I believed. I was a princess, and I was a prisoner. Amira, you're daydreaming again. I blinked. My mother, Queen Layla, sat across from me in the formal sitting room. Elegant, flawless, perfectly styled beneath her designer hijab. The wedding planner is asking about the reception theme, she said. Gold or silver? I don't care, I replied quietly. Her eyes hardened instantly. Gold, I corrected myself. Gold is fine. The wedding planner nodded nervously and typed on her tablet. They were planning my wedding. My wedding to a man I had met exactly twice. Prince Faisal bin Abdullah, 35 years old, divorced. His first wife had disappeared from public view after 2 years. No one spoke of her openly, but the servants whispered. I had seen the fear in that woman's eyes once, just once, before she vanished. He was cruel. Everyone knew it. But he was powerful, wealthy, and politically useful. So I would marry him. In 3 months. Amira, my mother snapped. Are you listening? Yes, mother. Then repeat what I just said. I couldn't. I'm not feeling well, I murmured. May I be excused? She studied me carefully, then waved me away. Dinner at 8. Your father wants the family together. I retreated to my room and locked the door, though it was a meaningless gesture. Someone always stood outside. Someone always listened. I stepped onto my balcony, staring at Riyadh stretching endlessly into the desert, glass towers, wealth beyond imagination. And I felt nothing. I pulled out the phone my father didn't know existed, purchased secretly with cash. I scrolled through social media, girls my age choosing their own lives, their own clothes, their own futures. I wanted to scream. Instead, I opened a hidden folder. Inside were forbidden things. A digital Bible, articles about Christianity, testimonies of former Muslims. If anyone found this, I would be destroyed. But the questions wouldn't leave me. Why did the Quran say Jesus didn't die on the cross when history said he did? Why was he called the Word of God? Why did he perform miracles no other prophet performed? Why would he return at the end of time? When I asked my Islamic tutor, Sheikh Mansour, he stared at me coldly. These are not questions for women, he said. Your duty is obedience. But I couldn't stop asking. There was a soft knock. Princess, it's Maria. May I bring you tea? Maria, my favorite servant. Filipino. Christian. The only person in the palace who treated me like a human being. She entered with tea and dates, then hesitated when she saw my face. You look sad today. I always am, I said. She sat beside me, breaking protocol. Is it the wedding? Tears filled my eyes. I don't want to marry him. I know, she whispered. In your country? I asked. Can women choose? Yes. The word felt like a miracle. I wish I'd been born anywhere else. Maria looked at me with such tenderness it nearly broke me. There is someone who loves you, she said softly. Who? Jesus. My heart raced. You can't say that here. I know, she replied, but it's true. How can he free me? I asked. I'm trapped, he said. You will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. That's from the Bible, I said. Her eyes widened. You've read it? Yes. For an hour we whispered. She told me about Jesus, not the prophet I knew, but the Son of God, the one who died and rose again. But Islam says, what if Islam is wrong? She asked gently. The words hung between us. I had prayed my whole life and felt nothing. Before I could answer, the door banged open. My brother's voice. Father wants to see you. My father's office sat at the very top of the palace, designed not for comfort but for intimidation. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the city like a throne above the world. The air smelled of oud and authority. Sultan Khaled sat behind his massive desk, his expression carved from stone. To his right stood my older brother Khaled, arms folded, watching me with thinly veiled amusement. My younger brother lounged on the sofa, smirking. Sit, my father commanded. I obeyed. I have received troubling reports, he said calmly, which was far more frightening than anger. My stomach tightened. What reports, father? I asked, forcing my voice to remain steady. Your sheikh tells me you have been asking improper questions. Questions about Christianity, about Isa. So Sheikh Mansour had betrayed me. I was only curious, I said. I wanted to understand. You do not need to understand, he thundered, slamming his hand against the desk. You need to obey. You are a Muslim princess. You represent this family, this kingdom. You will not shame us. I'm sorry, Father, I said, lowering my eyes. Sorry is insufficient, he replied. You will end these questions immediately. You will prepare for your marriage and become a proper Muslim wife. Do you understand? Yes, Father. His voice softened dangerously. There is more. Prince Faisal has requested the wedding be moved forward. We have agreed. My heart dropped. The wedding will take place in 6 weeks. The room tilted. 6 weeks. I whispered. You have had 19 years, he said coldly. That is more than enough. Father, please, I begged. I'm not ready. The slap came without warning. My head snapped to the side, pain exploding across my cheek. Love, he said quietly, is irrelevant. You are a woman. You exist to obey and produce heirs. Tears streamed down my face, but I remained silent. Leave, he ordered. And if I hear of one more inappropriate question, there will be consequences. I stumbled out. Behind me, my brother laughed. You'll learn your place soon. I collapsed in my room. 6 weeks. I stared at the bottle of sleeping pills beside my bed. My doctor had prescribed them months earlier. I had never taken more than one. I opened the bottle. 20 pills spilled into my palm. Freedom. Silence. No marriage. No cage. I swallowed one. Then another. Then another. And then Maria's voice echoed in my mind. Pray. My hands shook violently as I spat the pills out onto the floor. I slid to my knees. Jesus, I whispered. I don't know if you're real. But if you are, please help me. Nothing happened. I felt foolish. I crawled into bed and cried myself to sleep. The dream began in darkness. I was locked inside a stone cell. No windows. No handle. The walls pressed closer and closer until I could barely breathe. Then a voice spoke my name. I turned. A man stood beside me, dressed in white. Light radiated from him, not harsh, but warm. Safe. Who are you? I asked. You know, he said gently. I did. I say, Jesus. He smiled. I stared at his hands. Scars. What happened to you? I died for you. The Quran says. The Quran is wrong about me, he said without anger. I did die, and I rose again. Tears poured down my face. How can you love me? I know every tear you've cried, he said. I've always been with you. Then why didn't you save me sooner? I am saving you now. He touched my chest. The real prison is here. How can I be free? You must choose me. It will cost everything. Yes. I took his hand. The cell vanished. Light surrounded us. Peace flooded me. I choose you, I said. I am with you always, he replied. I woke at 3 a.m. The peace remained. I knelt. Jesus, I believe. Something inside me shifted forever. The following days passed in a blur of secrecy and joy. I devoured the Bible on my hidden phone. The words burned with truth. Then came the explosion. During my lesson, Sheikh Mansour demanded obedience. To follow truth, I said instead. He stared at me. Then perhaps the Quran is wrong, I continued quietly. The silence was deadly. You will recant, he snarled. I cannot. Within an hour, religious police filled the palace. Apostasy, one said coldly, punishable by death. They arrested Maria. No! I screamed. My father struck me again. Lock her up. They dragged me away. 2 days later, they brought Maria to me, bruised, bleeding. Do not recant, she whispered. Jesus is worth everything. They dragged her away again. I screamed until my throat bled. On the 3rd day, they offered me a choice. Recant, my father said, or die. I believe in Jesus Christ, I replied. You are dead to me. They gave me 30 days. 15 days later, my mother came. They will kill you, she sobbed. Then I will die free, I said. She told me of her dream. A man in white. "I love Amira," he said. "Will you choose truth?" She had a plan. Escape. That night, at midnight, the guards collapsed. I ran. Voices chased me. I hid. I ran again. The gate opened. Maria waited. We drove. Roadblock. Soldiers. "Remove your veil." Then, a sandstorm. Chaos. Escape. Jordan. Freedom. Refuge. Church. Baptism. Healing. Purpose. Years later, I stood on a stage in Europe. I lost everything. I told them. But I gained Jesus. Women wept. Dreams were shared. Chains were broken. Today, I am no longer a princess of a kingdom that chained me. I am a daughter of the King who freed me. Jesus set me free. And he will do the same for you. The refugee center in Amman was nothing like the palace I had fled. There were no marble floors, no gold fixtures, no servants waiting silently for orders. The building was old and crowded, its walls stained by years of desperation and hope existing side by side. Families slept on thin mattresses. Children cried at night. People spoke in hushed voices, carrying stories of war, loss, and survival. Yet to me, it felt like holy ground. For the first time in my life, I was not being watched. No guards outside my door. No cameras hidden in corners. No one controlling my breath. I was given a small room with a single bed and a table. The mattress was thin, the sheets rough, but when I lay down that first night, I slept deeper than I ever had in the palace. Freedom has a sound. It sounds like silence. Maria stayed with me for 3 days. She helped me register, brought me food, and prayed with me each night. On the third morning, she sat beside me on the edge of the bed, her eyes full of sadness. "I have to go back," she said softly. "My family is still there." Fear clenched my chest. "They'll hurt you." "They already have," she replied gently. "But Jesus is with me." She hugged me tightly. "You are not alone anymore, princess. Never forget that." "Thank you," I whispered. "You saved my life." She smiled and shook her head. "No, Jesus did. I just obeyed." When she left, the room felt unbearably quiet. For the first time since my escape, I felt the weight of what I had lost, my family, my home, my identity. But even in the loneliness, I felt him. Not as a vision, not as a dream, but as a presence, steady, unwavering. Sister Ruth visited often. She brought supplies, news, and one day something precious, a physical Bible. I held it like treasure, running my fingers over the worn cover. "Read the Gospel of John first," she said. "It reveals who Jesus truly is." I read for hours every day. The words felt alive, as though they were speaking directly into my soul. "I am the way, the truth, and the life. Come to me, all who are weary. If the Son sets you free, you will be free indeed." I met others like me, former Muslims who had lost everything because they chose truth. A woman from Iran who had seen Jesus in a dream. A man from Egypt who had been tortured in prison. A young girl from Pakistan who had been beaten by her own family. We were refugees, outcasts, but together we were a family. 3 months later, I was baptized. The church was small and simple. No royalty, no ceremony, just believers gathered in quiet joy. As I stepped into the water, I felt the weight of my old life pressing down on me. Fear, obedience, silence, shame. When I went under, it felt like death. When I rose, it felt like resurrection. The congregation applauded. Strangers hugged me. Tears flowed freely. I had lost a kingdom, but I had gained a family. 6 months after my escape, a message arrived on an encrypted app. It was from my mother. "Amira, I don't know if you're safe, but I can't stop thinking about the dream. I've been reading in secret. I think you were right. I think he is real. Pray for me." I cried until my chest ached. Night after night, we exchanged messages. Carefully, slowly, she asked questions. I sent scripture. Fear battled faith within her. Then one day, a final message appeared. "I believe. I want to follow him. I'm escaping." 3 days later, she arrived in Jordan. We collapsed into each other's arms, sobbing. "I chose him," she whispered. "I chose freedom." We were baptized together the following Sunday. A queen and a princess. Now, sisters, years passed. I learned to cook, to clean, to live simply, to work with my hands. I married a man named David, a former Muslim who had also met Jesus in a dream. We built a life rooted not in wealth, but in faith. We named our daughter Maria. 1 year after my escape, I stood on a stage in Germany before thousands. "My name is Amira," I said. I lived in a palace, but I was dying. I told them everything. The cage, the dream, the cost, the freedom. Women wept openly. Afterward, they lined up to speak with me. I saw the man in white. "My daughter is trapped. I want to follow Jesus, but I'm afraid." I pray with them all. That was when I understood my calling. Today, I lead a ministry called Daughters of the King. We help Muslim women seeking truth. Some escape, some worship in secret, some die for their faith, but all are free. Last month, I stood before world leaders at the United Nations and told them my story. Some listened, some were angry, some dismissed me. I did not care. Truth is power. Afterward, a Saudi diplomat approached me. "Your father is dying," he said quietly. I forgave him. I pray for him, because Jesus taught me how. Tonight, I sit on a small balcony in Germany. My daughter sleeps inside. My husband reads scripture. My mother prays. I look at the stars and smile. I lost everything, but I gained everything. My name is Amira. I was once a princess in a golden cage. Jesus set me free, and he will do the same for you.